So today we are doing a combined ranking of the MCU movies. We all took a whole list and combined all of them. So I'm very excited. Troy is not here because he's never seen any of the Marvel movies. But eventually I want to get him on so we can review this with him. But before we start, what is your favorite MCU character?
Wanda.
Really? Wanda Maximoff.
Wanda
Okay.
Maximoff and Peter Parker.
I'm surprised by well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. You love WandaVision.
I do love WandaVision, and I rewatched WandaVision very recently, and I discovered how much like me that she is, to the point where I felt extremely called out. So
It do be like that.
It'd be like that, yeah.
Jay, what about you?
Agatha.
Okay, Agatha Harkness.
Hi.
Yeah.
It's been
Hi,
Agatha
hun.
all along.
And I killed Sparky too.
I'm torn between Killmonger and Captain America. I love Killmonger's character.
You can do a hero and a villain. That's fair.
No, but like his whole like character arc in Black Panther is amazing.
He's a great character, dude.
I really hope they like. I don't think they would do this, but I really want them to bring him back.
Yeah.
And like just have him in the MC like multiverse. Just do that, please. I would love for him to be back.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get on in. All right, so this is our official Dream a Fantastic Dream MCU ranking.
Oh my, there's PowerPoint.
Oh yeah.
There's a PowerPoint.
In last place is the Incredible Hulk.
I'm glad we're all in agreement about that.
This one doesn't surprise any.
I mean, yeah, it's. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't even think I've seen this movie because I just never wanted to. I just didn't think it looked good, and I didn't like the Hulk. So it's like, why would I bother?
And Jared asked me last night. He goes, "Are we counting the Hulk?"
Is that technically MCU? Like, I mean, they recasted him like twice.
If it was Mark Ruffalo, I would have counted it. But
yeah, I do think it would have been better if it was Mark. But I am excited for Abomination to be back, because I do like the character. So
hello, She-Hulk.
Oh, to clarify,
okay,
we did the.
Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna say
To clarify, we did the MCU movies and the Spider-Man movies.
Oh yes,
because
including
they just came in.
Yeah,
in No Way Home.
But going off of that, I'm so ready for She-Hulk.
Yeah,
that's probably my like most anticipated TV show. If we didn't have Moon Knight, because I think Moon Knight is like in a league of its own.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
So it's like I don't really know where to put other things because that just seems so big, especially with where they're going. So I'm like, but yeah, no, I'm super excited for that.
That's gonna be hype. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Number 25 is Thor: The Dark World.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I don't think anyone's surprised here.
Yeah, it was higher on my list, but.
What did you have Thor for you?
I have to look at my list and see what number I had it as, because I do like the romance aspect of it. Surprise, surprise. I had it as number 23.
Okay, well, it's not too far off. So
not too far off, yeah.
Wait, why did we start with 26 if the other Spider-Man movies are in this?
So some of them actually, the way we ranked them, actually tied each other.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a few that have tied, and you'll see soon. I was kind of surprised by the way they came out.
Yeah.
But I didn't like forget any of them. They just happened to be the same amount. So yeah.
Okay.
It was 23 out of 31, to be fair, for Thor: The Dark World.
So it's a little, I would say it's like mid-tier then for you.
Yeah, it's about.
All right, so 24 is Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Again,
fine.
I do like the squirrels in it. I thought that was really cool. I just feel like Captain Marvel as a character is kind of bland.
It kind of came at a time when I didn't need it, because I was really into the whole like post-Infinity War era, and that kind of felt like a. In comparison to,
but wasn't that like right after though?
It was right after, and that's what I'm. You know what? I think it just was a victim of following Infinity War.
I think that's an issue that Marvel has in general is like they have like really good movies and like hype films, and then they like jump back
Yeah.
and they go like 20 years, but like in the past, or like with Black Widow, it was like all the way back to Civil War, and it was like after Endgame, and I was like, I know that the world wasn't ready for Black Widow at the time of Civil War, but I think like as you go through it and then watch Black Widow after, it feels a lot better.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it wasn't the right time for Black Widow.
They're just victims of timing, essentially.
Yeah. I do think Captain Marvel like would have been really, really good if it was like phase 1.
Yeah.
And it was
I
like
agree.
super different, and then she like disappeared, and then you had like all this time to be like,
or even
where
then,
did she
phase
go?
2, like after the first Avengers, I think would have been fine.
Yeah, because that wasn't too far off. Yeah,
it wasn't too far off,
and it dealt with the Tesseract like really closely.
It did, yeah.
So like, because that's what gave her power. So it's like, and that was what caused the whole invasion of New York in the first place. So yeah, I do. Yeah, I agree with you. Although Samuel L. Jackson was really, really good in it, and I will give it that.
Yeah.
23 is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
It just didn't do anything for me.
It didn't land for me. It felt like a weird like chase film, if you get what I'm saying.
Post-credit scene though.
I feel like the post-credit scene made up for the whole film.
It did.
Because that was dealing with Infinity War.
Ooh, it was so good. I remember being in the theater and like we're watching it and we're just like everyone's half asleep. Time for the post-credit. And when the dust happened, everybody went, ah! And it was like, oh shoot. It was so good.
For me, it was like everything that was going on at the time, and like everyone who wasn't in Infinity War, I was like, oh, what happened to them? And I had all these questions. So like it felt good that they answered it without really going into it.
The introduction of Jimmy Woo.
Jimmy Woo is an icon.
Truly.
And was the other girl named Ghost? What was her name?
Ghost, yeah.
Ghost. She's supposedly part of the anti-Avengers.
Dark Avengers?
Yeah, the Dark Avengers. So we might see her again. Because that's who she was a part of it in the comics.
Yeah.
And I would assume they're gonna build up her character, because like why would you just have her and then kind of just let her go? I mean, they did that with a lot of villains, but like I don't feel like she was a villain. So it's interesting. 22 is Iron Man 3. This deserves to be here. I wouldn't move it up, honestly.
I had it at it was third from the bottom on mine.
Yeah, it's a hard movie to watch.
I had it higher up than that, but like I barely remember it, so don't ask me.
Yeah.
Why.
There was like these
exactly.
These elemental people like that like got some serum and then they exploded.
Oh, no, it was supposed to be like a regenerative healing kind of like remedy that went wrong and turned into lava powers. Or like fire powers.
Oh yeah.
So they're like the reverse of the Incredibles.
Yeah.
Nice. Number 21 was Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. I feel like they did too much with what they had.
Way too much.
There was Venom, there was Sandman, there was everything else. Like
I really appreciated how they brought redemption to that movie through No Way Home, but it didn't make Spider-Man 3 better. It just made No Way Home really good.
Yeah, I think the elements that they took from each of those films really heightened Toby as a character, not really anyone else.
Yeah.
Number 20 is The Original Thor.
Okay, I like this movie.
Really? Okay.
I feel like I'm the only person who, and you want to guess why?
Love.
Yes.
The movie's so bland though.
It was number 13 out of 30, so it was like right there in the middle.
Nothing really happens in the entire movie.
It is a cute movie.
It drags on for so long though.
No, it doesn't. It goes by so fast.
Oh, every time I watch it, I fall asleep.
No, it's so cute.
Again,
When
I
he's
think
like-
it's just like the phase 1 syndrome.
He's like, another. How do you not love that? Or when he walks out and he's like without a shirt and she's like, oh God. And she's like super awkward. Yeah.
Well, that was probably because you're obsessed with like love plots.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Listen, just because you don't have a romantic bone in your body.
Okay.
doesn't mean-
Whoa. Okay.
I'm joking. I'm kidding.
I'm just a simple man.
What's number
making my way
19,
through the
Sky?
galaxy. Number 19 is Ant-Man. I actually don't hate this movie, you know? I don't think it's good.
Yeah, I would say I don't think it's good.
I don't
but I don't
hate
think it's
it.
bad. Yeah.
I really like Scott Lang, but
I
that's
hate her.
it.
I hate her haircut in this movie.
I don't like the actress who played Wasp.
Yeah, she's now like a vaxxed advocate for anti-vaxxers.
Oh boy, that's
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay.
Moving on.
I will say that I liked Yellow Jacket. I thought his character was
Yes.
really cynical and dark, and I thought it was everything that Ant-Man wasn't.
Yeah.
So it was like a cool reverse of the character.
Mhm.
But yeah, I agree. I don't like the film, although his 2 sidekicks are awesome.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Number 18 is The Amazing Spider-Man number 1.
No,
I know.
I put that higher up than the TASM 2.
I put TASM 2 really high.
You did. That's what messed it up.
So TASM 2 with Andrew Garfield was what really brought me into Marvel.
Mhm.
And I'd seen, Avengers and stuff like that, but I wasn't really into it
Mhm.
until I saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I really liked that was my first Peter Parker.
Mhm.
I didn't grow up watching the Tobey Maguire films.
Mhm.
So it was that was my first introduction to, hey, this is what Marvel could be.
TASM 1 was my introduction to Spider-Man. So that's
yeah.
why I like this movie a lot.
That makes sense, because when I saw it, I just saw the thing that was on, and I was like, sure, I'll watch it. I didn't know that it was a second movie.
Yeah.
I just went in blind saying, oh, this is Spider-Man. Okay.
Mhm.
And I think that's why I have such a high affinity for his version of Spider-Man.
Yeah. I struggled to connect with Toby, and I felt like I was getting pummeled by fanboys who loved Toby so much, and I just didn't understand. So when Andrew's movies came out, I was like, oh, okay, I can start over with a Spider-Man that I don't know anything about. Let's go. And so that Andrew's movies really helped me get to know the Spider-Verse a little bit more.
Yeah.
I have an issue with Tobey Maguire's films. I think it's just the writing of them, or because it's just really hard to listen to.
Yeah, I guess so.
And his acting is pretty awkward, so it's
his acting is awkward, I have to admit. Maybe it's on purpose, but yeah. What were you gonna say, Jared? I feel like you're gonna say something.
No, I'm don't remember a lot of these movies. I've seen them and I can rank them, but I'm pretty neutral about most of these until we get to top 10. So
yeah. Okay.
Number 17 was Iron Man 2.
Who's the villain? Oh, okay, I remember now.
It was the villain for this movie was Whiplash.
Whiplash, yeah.
The one that was so overrated. I almost said underrated.
It
he was
says
terrible.
Robert Downey Jr. This poster is terrible. It says Robert Downey Jr. on her butt. That's why this movie is so low for me. It sexualized the living mess out of her, and it made me upset.
The only scene I genuinely remember from this movie is when he was sitting in a donut eating donuts.
Yeah.
That was it.
Excuse me, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to exit the donut. That's the best part of the movie.
This one's actually probably my favorite Iron Man movie.
Mm-hmm. That being said, it is one of the better Iron Man movies.
Because it introduces Natasha as Black Widow.
Yeah, it does.
It's the first time we get to see it somehow.
It extremely sexual. And look at her in that poster. It bothers me.
Like everything else doesn't sexualize all the women in the MCU.
It's true, but like,
and this
but
is
like
also
Pepper
the one they
doesn't-
redid Rhodey for.
But Pepper doesn't look that bad though.
That's true.
Yeah, Pepper's fine.
I do really like the original Iron Man though, because I do like Tony and Pepper's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like the original guy who played War Machine. I thought he was really good. And I thought the villain Obadiah Stane was also super, super good.
I'm going to text you about the guy who originally played Rhodey because
Oh, is there T?
personal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
17 is actually where I put the first Iron Man movie.
Interesting. Cool. Number 16, of course, was Iron Man, the first one. So not that far off. Again, I do think for a phase 1 movie and like where it started, I think they did a really good job for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it set up the world in a pretty good way. And
Yeah.
it still holds up pretty well.
I like the first Iron Man. I think the first Iron Man, I feel like even my dad likes that movie, and my dad's not in this world at all. I ranked it. Where is it? Where did I rank it? I don't even know, dude. It's higher. It's higher than that, I think.
I'm pretty sure I ranked Iron Man pretty high. Let me see. Give me one sec.
I ranked Iron Man 2 higher actually than the first Iron Man, which is
Iron
weird.
Man I put at 14.
Huh.
Iron Man 2 I put number 30. So very low. Number 15 was Spider-Man 2.
Okay, that was higher for me, just a hair higher.
For me, it was 22.
For me, it was 18.
It was 16 out of 30 for me, so it's a little different. But,
I do really like Doc Ock in this movie, but that's about it.
mhm.
I don't really remember it, honestly. I couldn't sit through it last time I tried.
Who wants to guess why I put it so high?
MJ.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, the satisfaction of the love story like coming to like it was just there was more. That plot finished in my mind. That
Didn't
plot
they break up
finished.
in that movie, or is it the
They
next
broke
one?
up in the third one
Third
for
one,
no reason.
okay.
That's why I hate the third one, because there's no reason for it.
Yeah, I don't get that. But they got back together, so there's that.
It was like unclear, and then
Yeah.
Toby pretty much answered that question for us in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Number 14 was The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Again, this is why I fell in love with the MCU.
Mhm.
Was because of Toby, or not Toby, Andrew.
Andrew.
Sorry. Yeah. Although he did have some pretty dumb villains
Yeah.
at Rhino. But I did like
I once
Electro
fought a Russian guy in
in a rhino suit. It just felt the only thing I will say is I feel like they did a lot when they shouldn't have. They should
It's
probably
like Spider-Man 3. They did it again. Too many
Yeah.
villains
yeah.
for
And
one
they just
Spider-Man.
set up a
Too
lot.
much.
Yeah. Sinister Six. Although I do really want to see a Sinister Six movie. So that's where it hurts me, because they tried to do it. It just wasn't executed well.
They just, and I think that's why maybe I should bring this up when No Way Home gets here, but like I feel like there's a reason why they had to use all three of them, because this formula of too many villains to one Spider-Man was just not working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sadly, Gwen, gets her neck
That's the number one reason why I hate this movie, because when I first saw it, I didn't know Gwen was supposed to die. So when I saw it, I was like, this is
Her neck got yeeted.
horse doo-doo.
It was so dark,
upset.
yeah.
Yeah.
Number 13 was the original Spider-Man
Yeah.
from Tobey Maguire.
I like the second one better.
I do too.
I recognize that this is a classic though, but I do like the second one better.
I really
This
like
is-
William Dafoe though.
This is the only origin movie that I like more than the sequels.
Yeah.
That's fair. Number 12 was Black Widow and both Guardians of the Galaxy. So Guardians of the Galaxy 1
Wow.
and Volume 2.
That's fair. I feel like they're on the same level.
I
Yeah,
had
Yes, Jared.
go for it.
I had Guardians solo.
I like the first one. I didn't like the second one.
I
like
just
both.
don't like how comedic it is, and I understand that that's like its relatability, but I like the comedy of like Black Widow, where Yelena doesn't realize she's being funny.
Well, that was supposed to be like the way James Gunn writes is supposed to be comedy. and they wanted to go away from the original trope of like the MCU films, how they were like dark and just like straightforward. They wanted a more comedy film.
That's why I don't like them.
Although
but it's a formula that's working though, because they did the same thing with Thor. They took Thor out of the serious realm and yeeted him into comedy, and it revived the entire Thor series.
Although if you do really
don't like Chris Pratt,
if you want something, all the
that's true.
Guardians 3, they're supposed to kill the entire team. So
yeah, I get the Chris Pratt thing. I see how Chris Pratt could really plummet that down there.
Like just looking at him in the pose on the second poster, I'm like, I want to punch him.
Yeah. So for Guardians 3, they're apparently like killing off the Guardians. So there will no longer be a Guardians team.
Interesting.
Yeah. Number 11 was Thor Ragnarok.
Speaking of which,
actually, I really don't like this movie. I had this as number 20. Wait, where is it? Hold on. I had it as number 17.
This was right underneath the first Thor movie for me.
This is by far the best Thor movie in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Yeah,
I think. I mean, I do. Sky's gonna roll his eyes right now. I like the romantic, like medieval, like fantasy quality of the first Thor movie, but I can't deny that this was a wild ride that I actually enjoyed. But but again, you know how I said earlier in the episode about like going to therapy for change? That was this movie for me. This movie was so good. I just had a hard time wrapping my brain around it. But that does not mean it's a bad movie. It's a great movie.
The only thing that I really enjoyed was Hela and the end credit scene when the Thanos' ship pulled up. I didn't care about the movie at all.
Oh god, that was frightening.
Yeah, his giant ship when he killed
everyone,
Loki and everyone, half the team or whatever the heck. Yeah,
just love Hela. I wish we would have gotten more of her.
Number 10 is Civil War.
Yes.
I had this ranked really low, actually.
I had this one much higher.
Where did I put it?
I like this movie.
This was at 20.
Oh, never mind. Actually, I had it as number 9.
I had it as mine was number 6 in my top 10.
I thought it was a lot higher.
This movie and for me in the storyline of the Avengers is hands down the most boring thing you could give me.
Really?
I despise this movie. The only reason I like it is because we meet Spidey.
Really?
I do like the introduction of Spider-Man and Black Panther.
Black Panther's great. The Spider-Man. I like this movie because it's like, again, you know how I like the big cameos that are contained within itself?
Mm-hmm.
That's this for me.
This wasn't supposed. See, this is why I don't like this film, because in the comics it was so big.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was bigger than Infinity War or the Infinity Saga. I mean, it had Fantastic Four, it had the X-Men, it had obviously Spider-Man, but it had all of like the different elements of Marvel all together.
But Civil War literally like changed the outcome. If Civil War hadn't gone the way that it had gone, then we wouldn't have had like Infinity War or Endgame, because like the reason why Infinity War ends the way it does is because Tony and Steve don't work together, and that's from the mouth of the Russo brothers.
I know, but at the same time, I don't know if it's because I like grew up with the comics or like reading them after, but it's like it's so different.
I like it,
but it's not a bad movie. I thought it did really, really well for what it was setting out to do.
Move or you will be moved. As entertaining as that would be.
Yeah.
Like it just has so many of these great one-liners. Like, I can't go to Germany, I have homework. Or like
Peter.
The best Stan Lee cameo. Are you Tony Stank?
My favorite Stan Lee cameo, I think, is when he's driving the bus. He's like, "What? You never seen a spaceship before?"
Infinity War.
Yeah. Number 9 is the Winter Soldier.
Where was this? This was in my top 10, I think.
This was my top 10 too.
It was my number 9. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
This was my number 7. So this was flipped.
Jared.
How does this not get bumped lower then?
Because yours was higher.
No, it wasn't.
Where was it?
24.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yours was higher. So it didn't go down lower. I mean,
Now this movie, it took me a while to like it
this
because
was my favorite MCU movie
the reason I saw this
for
movie,
so long.
the reason I saw this movie was because I thought that Cap and Nat were gonna get together.
Oh.
And when they didn't, I was mad, and I was like, now Hydra's taking over. I don't understand. So I watched the rest of the MCU, and then I went back to this movie, and I was like, okay, I'm a little more educated now. Like,
Dude, I liked
better.
it since 2014. The
Like,
whole spy espionage
yeah.
thing.
I was like,
slay.
I was like, I know better now. And as I'm watching this, like the relationship between Steve and Bucky and like the whole reveal was so epic that like I found myself watching it as a completely different movie. So I really enjoyed it.
For a long, like I still like this more than I like the first Avengers.
Mhm.
Like I was like, this is so much
I wouldn't
better.
go that far.
Oh, I will. Like when I saw this movie, I was like, the Avengers who?
Mm-hmm.
Like Cap, like Chris Evans does an amazing job in this film, and I think this is really what like skyrocketed his performances. Number 8 is the Age of Ultron and the Avengers.
Oh wow, interesting.
So it's both of the first two Avengers films.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have a hard time watching the first Avengers, knowing that it's Joss Whedon.
I have a hard time watching it just because of the writing.
Yeah, it's just because like I know that like Joss Whedon was a D-bag on Justice League, and so it's like I can't watch the first Avengers movie.
Then again, I had no hope for Justice League, so
like Black Widow was painted in a completely different light in the first movie, but it's classic. It gave us some of the best shots in the MCU of all time, like the pan around of the Avengers for the first time together.
Yeah, most iconic stuff was from the Avengers, but I do think Age of Ultron is, in my opinion, a lot better film because we do get Scarlet Witch, we get Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Vision was amazing in that film, and I really genuinely do like Ultron.
I thought Age of Ultron had funnier one-liners than Avengers did. Avengers had some good ones, but I had like "Doth Mother Know You Weareth Her Drapes" is one of my mom's favorite lines of all time. But at the same time, like the language joke, they played up really well.
Yeah.
The "You didn't see that coming" line ended up being, a line that kills most people these days. What's another one? Oh, I Was Born Yesterday. The whole scene with the hammer.
I do have an issue with like the first Avengers though, is because like I feel like the first and the second act is very, very boring. Like not a lot happens, and they're just kind of standing in a building, and it's just like it just drags on when like Age of Ultron is like nonstop the entire time, and I think that's why I have more fun with it.
Yeah.
And I know like the Avengers is like iconic and stuff, but like for me, it's hard to watch and hard to sit through. Number 7 is Doctor Strange and Shang-Chi.
That's interesting.
How so?
I feel like these movies are within the same genre of superhero movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Ironically, Doctor Strange was 6 and Shang-Chi was 8 on mine, so they balanced it themselves.
Yes. Shang-Chi was 8 and Doctor Strange actually was 19 for me.
So I had Shang-Chi at 19. I had Doctor Strange at 10.
Huh.
That
makes sense. You don't like the third act.
I don't like the third act, yeah.
But Doctor Strange was hard for me to understand at first, so I put it down there for a reason. Shang-Chi, I feel like they both deal with the magical side of things. I have a hard time with the science stuff, and I like the magic more. So both of them were dealing with the magic, but I think Shang-Chi was just a little bit more in the easy to understand side of magic than Doctor Strange.
I had, well, for me, Doctor Strange came at like a time that like it just fit really, really well, and I understood it and I got it. and I thought his story was like really cool to see him go from like a doctor to a like head sorcerer supreme, and like enter that like mystical world of the MCU. I don't know, it's just a fun thing to watch.
To be honest, I fell asleep.
I've never fallen asleep during Doctor Strange, but I fell asleep during Shang-Chi.
I fell asleep right before Dormammu, and then I woke up in time for that, and I had no idea what was going on. But Shang-Chi I loved. I thought it was just so fantastical, and I loved the fight between his parents in that flashback was so nice.
I will say I love their posters too. Like I'm just not looking at them.
Yeah, I just have an issue with like the end fight. It just feels like a cutscene from a video game. I don't know, like, and those like it just felt like Legend of Zelda, like live action, and I just wasn't in it. And then number 6 is the first Avenger.
Ooh, where did I put
Captain America?
Where did I put that?
I had that really high.
Mine's number 15.
I had mine at number 5.
I really should have put that higher.
The first Avenger. I thought it was a really, really good, solid first Captain America film.
You do love that kind of historical drama stuff, so that's like your
I love like the Nazi era, like the World War II style stuff, and it was just really cool to see. At least in my opinion, like the first time seeing the Tesseract, and you know, it's just it held like Peggy Carter. The first time we see her, like I love her so much as a character.
Me too. Steve and Peggy, man, how do you compete with that?
And like his sacrifice is so touching and like hard to watch, and
I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, and his theme, the first time I heard his theme, oh my lord, it rivals like Portals for me. Like it's so good.
Yeah,